he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I was like, oh, I was really taken aback, taken off guard. Is the word we're gonna use. Taken off guard. Anyway, you know what I mean. I was taken aback. I was thrown off guard. I had planned to like cut it off. I think he had called me that day, and my plan was to like send a message and be like, oh, it's been nice talking to you, but like, you know, this isn't gonna work. Something like that. But when he called me, I literally physically couldn't ignore his call. I just answered it, and then okay, let me attach this to my, I'll do that. Okay, I feel like I should have worn more comfortable pants for this. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. It's been very hectic couple of months. It's been very, very crazy, but like the most exciting time of my life because I am engaged. I'm a fiance. So exciting. So today we're gonna like talk all about that and break it down, and I'm gonna talk about how I met my now fiance, Aaron. You guys have met him before on my channel. I have a few videos with him, but yeah, we got engaged on Christmas Eve. It was very romantic. I wanted to come and talk a little bit about that, and also I was thinking to kind of kill two birds with one stone and talk about how we met. So this is going to be from my perspective because he shared his side on my channel before, but I have yet to release the part 2, which is supposed to be my side. So this will serve as the part 2 of how I met my fiance. So if you guys watch part 1 of how we met and my love story with Aaron, then you know that we met on Hinge. We met on the dating app Hinge. I lived in Alberta and he was in Ontario. So we were long distance and we met on the app while I was in Alberta and while he was here. I kind of had been on and off the dating apps, but this particular time I was a little bit over that dating app, so I kind of just decided to cast my net wider and I put my location here because I was just curious, like, you know, I wonder what the bachelors are like in Ontario. So I kind of changed my location and I put it from Alberta to Ontario. And I think he was like the sixth or eighth profile I saw, but I was enjoying my time on the app in Ontario because there was just way more options, which was hilarious because I'd always said I never wanted to live in Ontario, specifically GTA area. I thought it was very hectic, it's very loud. I just felt like it was kind of like an environment that was a lot, and I'm more of like a quieter person. I like the quiet, serene. I don't like cities that are too busy. So I don't even know why I decided to change my location to here, but I just did, just for fun. I didn't really think I was going to end up meeting my husband-to-be. He was like the 6th or 8th profile that I saw, and I saw his profile and I was like, he's cute. If you are on Hinge, you know that Hinge only allows you to like, I think, is it 8 profiles a day? I forgot the exact number, but it's like they only allow you to like or send a like to a very limited amount, so that it's more intentional. You're not just sending out likes to people, right? So I had ran out of my daily limit of likes, so when I saw his profile, I couldn't like it. So I was like, but I still want to match with him. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to send him a rose. And this was back in November of 2023. Yeah. Okay, if I got the date wrong, I'm just going to put the correct year here. But yeah, November 2023, I liked his profile. And I didn't hear back from him. Like, he didn't match with me or anything. I think it was for 1 month, and I was actually about to delete the app. So by the time he had finally matched back with me, he matched with me, and then he messaged me right away, and he's like, thanks for the rose. And as you guys know, if you send a rose to somebody, it's like a super like. So he's like, thanks for the rose, it's my favorite flower, something like that. And I was like, oh, you're welcome. I think we exchanged a few messages, but my response times are horrible. Like, I'm really bad at replying to people. I even hate saying that because I also hate when other people say that, because it's like, it's about priorities. I guess it wasn't my priority it really wasn't. At that point, I was really just like, I don't really feel like being on the apps, right? Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys can see me properly because the lighting is a little bit, I move move up a bit. Yeah, so as I was saying, I was responding very sporadically. Like I would take like 2 weeks to respond. And I think he was also doing the same thing, but I didn't really notice because I was really over the app. So we were just kind of like, you know, and I think one day I said, I'm actually about to delete this app. Here's my number. And from there, he sent me a voice note on WhatsApp. So when I gave him my number, he had saved my number and then sent me a voice note on WhatsApp. And I was like, oh, this is different, because usually it takes a while for somebody to feel comfortable sending a voice note, but he just sent me a voice note, and I thought that his voice was really nice. I also thought he had a really cute laugh. So I was like, I like his laugh. He has a really nice voice. Well, to me, it's very nice if you have watched the other videos of us together. But I was like, yeah, I can listen to him talk. I remember he sent me that voice note like right before the new year. So right before we entered 2024. I think I ended up responding maybe 2-3 days later, and I sent him a voice note back, and then we got to talking a bit, and then we set up a phone call because we're long distance. Now, mind you, at this point, he has no idea that I'm in Alberta. So my plan was working. No, he had no idea I was in Alberta. So I was like, should I tell him over text on the voice note? I was like, no, let me just get in a phone call with him. So we got into the phone call, and our first call, I noticed when he called me, he FaceTimed me. And I was like, I'm not doing a FaceTime for the first call. I don't know you, sir. And it's also, we have a 2-hour time difference. So by the time he called me, it was in the evening. It was almost, it was getting really late. It was like close to my bedtime in Edmonton, and it was probably later in the evening for him. So I was like, no, I'm not doing a FaceTime. So he was on FaceTime by himself, and I had my camera off, and I was just talking to him. But I kind of liked that he didn't pressure me to turn my camera on. He was just like, okay, it's okay. You can just look at me then. And I was like, I like that. It's more of like a calm, chill, like, I don't know. I felt like I wasn't going to be pressured to do something that I wasn't ready to do or comfortable doing yet. So that was also nice. And we're talking. I think our first call was maybe around 45 minutes. I don't like to do a first call or interaction with somebody longer than like 30 to 45 minutes, because I just like to keep it brief, and then we get to know each other gradually, like a slow burn kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna stay on the call with him too long. And I told him, by the way, I am in Alberta. And he was like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, yep, that's where I am. And he's like, how did we even match? Like, did you come here to visit? I was like, no, I just kind of put my location there, and yeah. And he was like, oh. The next thing that came out of his mouth was, sorry, but I am not doing long distance. I prefer somebody here. I'm just really not interested in that or doing that. And I think I responded. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Because, at the moment, you don't know the person. We'd sent a few texts, and we just are on our first call. You're not really attached. You don't really care, right? So I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. And then he kind of paused for a second, and he's like, I mean, maybe we'll have another call or whatever and kind of see. And I was like, maybe. I think I said something. I was like, if I'm in the mood to talk to you, because at that time I think I was not freshly back, but I had been just out of the pageant world, and I was like, come back from traveling, and I was dealing with a lot of stuff. So I was just not really in the mood to interact with people, to be honest. So I told him, I was like, if I'm in the mood to talk to you, I will let you know. But yeah, we can just keep in contact. And I think the next day, the same man who said, I'm not doing long distance, he texted me the next day, and he was like sending me pictures of his meal prep that he was making, and he was suggesting we do another call. So he called me again, and I was like, I'll just talk to him. I don't know. The one thing about talking to him is I really not really caring that, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, ladies, you know what I mean. It's like sometimes you just are like open to seeing like, where's this guy gonna take this, but you're not really even attached to him or whatever. Like, I was just kind of open to talking to him, but I was like, I never foresaw, this with him. And I think on that call, I had asked him, I was like, hey, by the way, like, how tall are you? Because on the app, he had his height as like 5'9". And I know And ladies, we all know that when a man puts his height as something on the app, he's usually shorter than that. So I already was anticipating that because I'm 5'8", right? Like, again, I model and I'm like a tall woman. I used to do track and field. So I'm a long person. Like, I have long legs and stuff. So I know that I'm like taller than the average woman out there. So historically in my dating pool, I'd always preferred taller men, of course. Men that I could feel short around, because I wasn't used to feeling short around people, because I was always the tallest person in the room, or one of the tallest people in the room. And basically he told me that he was like, I think he said he was like 5'7.5". So I was like, okay, he's like half an inch shorter than me, but I was like, whatever, let's just talk and see. I think like my first boyfriend was like like the guys I dated before were like 6 feet plus, right? So I was like, dating somebody shorter, I don't know, I haven't really done that, but I was like, let me just see how it feels. Yeah, at this point we're just doing phone calls, and then we eventually have a FaceTime, and I finally let him see me. I think it was our third call. I was like, let's do a FaceTime so you can see that I am me, who I say I am. So we did FaceTime, and then from there we would just FaceTime on and off. We would call, and eventually those calls turned into calling every day. I don't think it was from the day we had our first call to when we started having regular phone calls. I think it was maybe even just 2 weeks. It could have even been a little bit less than that. Things kind of progressed pretty quickly, and it started becoming like a nightly routine, like a night routine that we would text during the day and send photos and stuff, and then in the evening time we'd talk to each other every day. You tell me about your day, I would tell him about mine. We would talk about the most random stuff. It was very easy to talk to him. It was very like, there's always something to talk about. It was never forced. Yeah, so I just kept talking to him, and I started noticing, I'm like, crap, he's becoming part of my routine. And that's when I started freaking out. I'm like, no, I can't have this. So I actually had planned to like cut it off, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do, like, if I'm gonna talk to him, we're gonna just get attached talking to each other. At this rate, we hadn't even set a time to meet yet. I was like, let me just cut it off now. But I really couldn't, because I think he had called me that day, and my plan was to like send a message and be like, oh, it's been nice talking to you, but like, you know, this isn't gonna work. Something like that. But when he called me, I literally physically couldn't ignore his call. I just answered it, and then we talked all night again. I think we actually ended up falling asleep on the phone together. Like, neither of us would hang up. And we didn't say that that's what we were gonna do. We didn't say, let's stay on the call all night. We literally just, nobody would want to hang up. He'd fall asleep, or I would fall asleep. He'd stay on the call. He'd fall asleep. I'd stay on the call. Like, we just weren't hanging up to each other. And then I noticed, like, one morning, I woke up to the sound of somebody eating an apple. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I opened my eyes, and I noticed that we've been on the call all night, and it's the morning. He's getting ready for work, but he still hasn't hung up. He was like doing his morning routine, making breakfast, eating an apple while I was still on the call, because he didn't want to hang up. And that's what would wake me up. And he would be waking up around like getting ready and stuff around 6 a.m. So that would be 4 a.m. my time. So 4 a.m. my time, I could just hear him crunching his apple into my ear, not even putting it on mute. So I was like, okay, this is getting to the point where, yeah, I think we just, I don't know, developed like a connection, attachment, like a safety with each other, a comfortability, where I was like, okay, this is what we do now. We just don't hang up calls. We just talk all night, fall asleep together, wake up, and then he would drive. He'd be driving in his car to work and still have me on FaceTime. So I think like we all understand, once it gets to the point where you're like you just want to be on the phone with somebody just to hear them breathe. That's it. Then we're like, I think we like each other. Yeah. So at that rate, we started kind of discussing him coming to visit me, to fly over to visit me. So he had booked his flight to come see me and meet me for the first time. And I think maybe a few days or a week after he booked his flight, mind you, this all happened within a month. So he had already booked his flight within a month of us chatting. We're in the new year now, so it's January of 2024 now. And I was gonna meet him, I think, early March, end of February was when he booked his flight to come see me. And I was like, you know, we're talking a lot, and I said I was gonna delete the app, but I wasn't on that one, I was on a different one while we're still talking. And he was on the apps too. And I think I said to him, I was like, I didn't really know like if we're exclusive or what boundaries we were going to set. So I asked him, I was like, hey, you know, where do you see us going? Because you're coming to see me. We talk every day. Sometimes we'd even talk like for the whole day, like especially on weekends, we'd just be like doing our chores, errands, whatever we're doing with each other on the phone. So I was like, you know, what is this? And where do you see us going? And he responded, and he's like, you know, no promises. I'm just going to come there and I'm going to meet you, but no promises. You know, we haven't even met each other. Let's just kind of see how it goes. And I was like, okay, yeah, like that makes sense. And I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm also going to be keeping my options open, considering we're just still kind of seeing how this goes. And he was like, okay, yeah, I really meant it. Like, he will tell you in his version that he thought I was saying it as like a challenge to be like, well, I'm keeping my options open, like a way to get him to ask me to be his girlfriend. But I really genuinely was like, no, like, I'm okay with what we're doing right now. I'm just going to keep my options open too. I just wanted to be transparent. It was not to be like, ask me to be your girl. Actually, that wasn't even where I was at mentally, because I wanted to meet him first. And I think the next day he was like, you know, I've been thinking, and it was either February 13th or 14th. And he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I was like, oh. I was really taken aback, taken off guard. Is the word we're gonna use. Taken off guard. Anyway, you know what I mean. I was taken aback. I was thrown off guard. I think that's the statement. So I kind of was like, oh, you know, I didn't know this is how you're feeling already. I'm not really sure how I want to answer this. Can I think about it? And he was like, okay, you can think about it, but I'm gonna give you 24 hours max. Now, remember, he already has his flight here. So I felt like this was a either make or break moment, because if I said no, is he still gonna come and see me? I don't know. And also I felt like I wasn't really fully ready to now have a boyfriend, somebody I hadn't met yet. So I was like, I need to think about it. He's like, I'll give you 24 hours maximum. You have to tell me by tomorrow night. And I was like, all right, sure. So the whole day, I don't think we spoke because I really wanted to think it over. And I was really ready to say no to him. It's so dramatic the way I'm putting it, but like, we got into the call, and I think it's Valentine's or the next day or whatever. And, you know, I was ready to say no. Again, I just couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't say no once I got on the call with him. I think there was something that he had said or asked me where I was like, why am I saying no to this person? Like, just be open, like literally just see where it goes, right? And I was like, yes, I'll be your girlfriend. And yeah, he had sent me like flowers, and he'd sent me these chocolate covered strawberries. I'll see if I still have the photo. I'll put it up here to my door, right? Because it was Valentine's. I was like, yeah, you know, I will be your girlfriend. And he's like, okay, perfect. I'll come see you. And he came to visit me. And at that rate, we're already boyfriend and girlfriend. So our first, I'm going to just fast forward a bunch to, you know, a couple weeks later, he comes to meet me. And now I finally get to see kind of like our height difference at play, because I didn't really know how it felt like to date somebody like a little bit shorter than me, right? So we met, and when we did meet, because we're pretty much the same height, I didn't even really notice it. Yeah, I didn't really even notice it. But when I did meet him, I was very, very nervous. I think he tried to like give me a kiss, like he tried to lean in and kiss me, and I was like, no. I don't know. One thing about me is I'm like sweet and kind to people, but also like I will like bluntly say my boundaries. I literally was like, no, like, yeah, no. And he was like, oh, and I was like, you know, we just met. Like, he's already my boyfriend. You know, you should be able to kiss your girlfriend, right? You just met her. And I was like, no, because I wanted to go on a date first. I wanted to feel him out first and feel comfortable, and not just rush into kissing somebody. I was like, no, let's like, you know, go out, take me to dinner, like wine and dine, and let's talk and get used to being in front of each other. So yeah, he was in Alberta for like maybe just the weekend, because he had work. He had to go straight back to work. And that was the time where I was like, should I introduce him to my family? I was not ready then. He was ready to meet them. I was not ready, so I did not let him meet them. Yeah. But yeah, so we then eventually planned for, you know, me to come here. When I came here, I think that's what accelerated my feelings for him. Also, back up a little bit. When he visited me in Alberta, I think we were in a furniture store. We're in the furniture store, and you know, he'd never been to Edmonton, so the main attraction in Edmonton is like the West Edmonton Mall. Well, it was the biggest mall at one point in North America. So I was like, okay, let me take him there to see. So we're in the furniture store there in the mall, and we're sitting there. I forgot what led up to it, but he just said that he loves me. And that was the first time he told me he loved me, when we were in the furniture store, when he came to visit me on his, I think it was his last day before he left. And I was like, oh. And then I said it back to him. We had developed like a very unique bond and understanding with each other. And you're still in the honeymoon phase. We'd never gotten into any arguments, like nothing. We didn't get into any misunderstanding. Like it was all very, very super easy. Like in that honeymoon bubble that we're in for like maybe about 4 or 5, almost 6 months of just like pure bliss. And then it was when I came here, that's when our relationship was tested a little bit. And so yeah, we're just visiting each other for a bit. And then I came for the summer of 2024. And at the end of the summer, we broke up. So we had a 4-month breakup, which maybe we'll talk about at one point. But anyway, fast forward, we got back together. And one of the things that Aaron would always say to me was that he knew for sure when he started kind of manifesting and hoping for a life partner, like a wife, a woman in his life. He had said, he kind of went on this journey. He was like basically single, celibate, everything for like 5 years. This is his journey to share when he comes on, but I'm sure he's okay with me talking about this, which was very useful because when we got together, I made it really clear. I was like, we're not going to be having sex. You need to put a ring on my finger, right? And so, yeah, he really had to wait a while, which he was able to do because of that 5-year journey that he went on. And he never rushed me, he never pressured me. It was very much whatever I was comfortable with. That was also another thing that I really, really appreciated about him. So, as I said, so he kind of knew that I was, I guess he knew I was the one for him before I did. And it's usually how it goes with men, like, just from my experience, what I've heard from guys and other married couples is like sometimes, like most times the guy will know before the girl does. And so I think it was even before we met, he was like, I'm like, sure, you are my soulmate. You're the third person I was supposed to meet. There were 3 girls he was supposed to meet before landing on me, the final one. And he just had this understanding and like intuition. So he had met the first, second, and they each taught him something. And so by the time he got to me, he was like, you're my last. And you are like, you're my soulmate. Like, you're the person I'm spending life with. So he told me that like very early on in the start of our relationship. That was his sort of intuition, gut feeling. For me, it was other things that happened gradually over time, little things where I felt like I got my confirmation from God. I got my what I needed to see, like, okay, this is somebody that I can build a life with and trust. So there's certain things that I had to see over time, gradually, to get my go ahead, yes, like be engaged, marry, move forward, right? So yeah, we just had like, I guess, a lot in common. Like, he comes from a family with 3 boys. I come from a family with 3 girls. His family's going. And so like, they're Catholic. My family is Christian. My mom's grew up Catholic, but we were mostly Christian, non-denominational in our household. So we kind of had those like core values that aligned in a way that I felt like was acceptable, because obviously you're not going to agree on everything. He grew up that way. He has those values, but he's on his own journey with that, as we all are, right? So, yeah, I just wanted like those core fundamental values. And I think it was funny, when I came here to visit him, I noticed that his backpack in the corner was the exact same backpack I had. So we just started laughing. We're like, we both had the same backpack. And I remember I was telling him, I was like, when my mom bought me this backpack to start university, right? I thought it was the ugliest backpack. I hated it. I thought it was for boys, and I thought it was too big. And it was funny because he has that backpack and his mom also got it for him. So we had the exact same backpack, and our moms both got it for us. Obviously that wasn't like the defining factor, but it was one of like the many coincidences that we had. We have a 9-year age difference. So he's 9 years older than me. And, you know, obviously we don't have a lot of parallel moments, because while he was being, you know, a young bachelor man out in the world, I was like in junior high school. I was playing with my toys, getting Starbucks with my friends, going to the movies, whatever, right? So I think like everything that he developed and is strong in are areas that I can learn from him, and vice versa. The areas that I'm strong in, he learns from me. So there's certain skills that we have that play on each other, which is really, really beautiful in the sense of our relationship, because even down to like food preferences, I wouldn't say I'm a picky eater, but I have a certain palate, and he almost has the exact opposite. So we really finish the plate, because if I don't want something, he actually really wants that, or he likes that. So it was like a really nice balance to have. He's more extroverted, I am introverted. He does all our talking. Like, he really takes on that masculine role in our relationship, and I am like the quieter, introverted person in our relationship. And yeah, it's just we play off each other's skills. I've definitely grown a lot in the 2 years that I've known him, and 100% he has too. Like Aaron that I met day one versus now, different men. So that's one thing I really enjoy about our relationship, is like the growth we've had as a couple. You get a different kind of appreciation and attachment to your person when you grow together. You know, people are always looking for a finished product in somebody, but I don't know, I really appreciate and value the growth that we've done together as a couple, and how we've used both of our strengths to help grow each other and lift each other up. So yeah, that's how we met. And I guess how he proposed was, you know, for me, when I had come here, I realized it was going to be very challenging to do long distance. So I was like, okay, I'll come stay over there with you, because a lot of the things that I am involved in are online. So I didn't really need to really physically be in Alberta. He owns a gym and he runs it here, so he has to be here. So yeah, I was like, I'll come there. And I was like, I really don't want to. And even to this day, ladies, I will always say, do what's good for you. Do what's good for you. Do what's good for your relationship. Nobody should be putting their 2 cents and 2 feet into your relationship. You form a 2-handed circle. It's you and your partner, especially when you're married. But even to get to that point, you need to do that and create some boundaries. You can't have people in your ear telling you what's good for you, what's right for you, what's not. It's you and the person. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to care about your relationship with this person other than you two. That is your job. So all this letting friends' opinions, letting family opinions, letting whatever, society, everything get into your relationship, it's going to lead you guys in 2 different directions. Like in most cases, that's what happens. So it really has to be you and your person are deciding what is good for us, what do we want, and what do we want to create. So I broke my rule of not living with the person, and I came to stay here with him. And I was like, it's a leap of faith. But it felt like what I needed to do. It felt right for the relationship. And I still had my boundaries within that. Like, okay, if you haven't proposed by a specific time frame, I'm out of here. Because I want to be a wife. I am somebody's wife, and I'm going to be a mother. This is how I view myself. This is what my standards are. This is what I want. And yeah, so he had assured me, like, of course I'm going to propose, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't know when, but I started kind of getting an inkling that, it could be near, because we also have a jewelry business together, guys. So as you know, I am the CEO and founder of AAdoring, which is a fine jewelry house where we create bespoke, custom, high quality diamond pieces. We mostly focus on engagement rings for couples, but we also do earrings, necklaces, bracelets, all of it. And I'm the head designer. Those of you who are like OG Lookintomylife watchers, you know that I've been in art for years in my life. Like literally since I was like 8 years old until now. Now I'm 25. I design all the pieces. And a lot of people were asking me, since I'm engaged, did I design my own engagement ring? Now this feeds into the story of how I found out that he was going to propose soon, because one of our artisans had messaged me. I had been bouncing designs off of her, right? So we're already in contact. We're already talking. And she asked me what my ring size is. And Erin was right next to me. And I said, why is, I'm going to protect her privacy and not share her name, but why is she asking my ring size? And he was like, I don't know, because you guys are working on a piece, aren't you? And like, and I was like, that's when I kind of did a side eye. So I knew that it's probably coming. Both of them had known that I really am into this design and this shapes. I'd given Aaron the specs of what I wanted. I wanted a marquee cut, and I wanted something unique. You know, for me, it's not like carrot size doesn't matter and all those extra flashy things don't matter. For me, what matters is the thought put into it, the uniqueness. Does it reflect like his view of me? Because this is something that I'm wearing daily. And does it reflect our relationship? Like, what does it symbolize? All those very personal things. So that's why I really, really loved like all of the personal touches that were put into my ring. This is a custom adoring piece. The thought put into my ring is the thought I like to kind of incorporate into every ring, because this is the piece that you're going to wear for the rest of your life. And then you're going to pass it down. It's like an heirloom. It's something that should be designed thoughtfully. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw that in there. It's not like a sponsored video because I'm the owner of the business. I'm gonna put the link down to our booking information down below. Okay. Did I even tell you how he proposed? Okay, I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I like that it's very personal, private. It's something that's very special and intimate to us in our relationship. But yeah, I think like, you know, my family's Zimbabwean. I was born in Zimbabwe, so it's very important to kind of get the blessing from them. When Aaron and I had went to spend Thanksgiving with my family in Alberta, that's when he kind of sat down and he talked to my parents and he asked for their blessing to propose to me. And it was very, very sweet. Yeah, I'm just smiling thinking about it because it was a very beautiful moment, just hearing how he talks about me and the love he has for me, the love we have together, our relationship. It was very lovely. So that happened all the way back in October. He proposed in December, before the new year. So yeah, December of 2025, December 24th, 2025. That's when we got engaged, Christmas Eve. I'd always wanted to do one of those dome camping, you know, the skylight ones where you can kind of see like the stars, and it's glamping, right? I thought it was very romantic for Christmas time. And yeah, it was going to be our first Christmas together, because the Christmas previously, we were on a hiatus from our relationship. We had broken up. So yeah, it was very beautiful, very romantic, in the most perfect setting. I'd always wanted to do those domes, and we actually ended up upgraded to a different cabin, but it was even more romantic and even more beautiful. We had like gone into the sauna. We had, he'd made us like the most beautiful dinner. We had Rudy Patootie there. Rudy's Aaron's doodle. Big baby, so cute. Aaron is amazing at cooking, so he had made us a beautiful dinner. Anyway, it was perfect setting, and it was so beautiful. He got down on one knee, and I was so like shocked and surprised that I spilled my rosé. And yeah, it was just like, it was crazy. Like, to this day, like, I'll think about it and be like tearing up, because I'm like, oh, it was very meaningful. People ask me, did I cry? Absolutely, I did. Yeah, of course, come on. So yeah, I did cry. And yeah, I was like, it was the best thing ever. And then he had set up like horseback riding for us, and I always wanted to go horseback riding, and it was just amazing. Like, the most best Christmas ever. It was beautiful, it was perfect, it was amazing. He did such an amazing job. My jaw dropped when I saw the beauty that he designed for me. Yeah, and it was amazing. So I'm like teetering the line between being private and it being a very sacred moment for me and Aaron, and then also like broadcasting it and sharing it, because it's like, it's the type of news you want to scream to your rooftops because you're happy and you're like, you want to share it, right? So I think I'll find a middle ground somewhere in between. Maybe I'll do a separate video on how I guess prayed him into my life, prayed and manifested him to be into my life, because that's a whole other journey and story. But this story was about how we met and how we got engaged. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all of the those of you who already saw the news on my Instagram. I do appreciate the congratulatory messages, the kind congratulations. We appreciate it. We accept all the well wishes and the happiness you're sending to us as we begin our journey as a married couple soon. And yeah, for now, I'm enjoying my fiance era and soaking in the vibes, soaking in the happiness. So, yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye.